Hi, everyone. We are just about to begin the webinar. We have a few people joining. While people are joining, just go ahead and we have a prompt in the chat. If you can just say hello and where you're joining in from, what city or state you're joining in from. And we'll get started in a few seconds to introduce ourselves and introduce ClockShark to a few of you guys who joined us today. All right. Daniel from California. Thanks, Daniel. Daniel on our team. Brent from, is that Montana? We have California in here. We have a few people in here. Missouri. Thank you. Thank you, Brent. My initial abbreviations aren't so great. Minnesota. Good. We have a good range of people in the audience. For anyone just joining, just write your name in the chat and let us know where you're coming in from. We are going to start in just about 15 seconds. I think we got a good amount of people already who've joined us. We have a couple of California in here, which is good. All right. All right, perfect. I think we've got everyone in here. So with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and get us started. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Jen, and I'm the Director of Growth for ClockShark, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. You're joining us today for a full look at ClockShark in action. This is going to be an opportunity for you to see inside ClockShark, get a little bit of a live demo from our expert speakers here today on the call with us. So before we begin into that, I just want to get into a bit of quick housekeeping items for you. So one, we are recording this webinar, and we will be sending the replay over to you guys once the webinar ends. So you'll have a full handle of that and just immediately after the webinar. There will also be a Q&A at the end. So anytime during the webinar, just drop in your questions. You'll see down at the bottom right hand of your screen, there should be a questions icon, and just pop in a question, just put it in there. And then at the end, we'll be sure to field all the questions and spend a little time in Q&A with you guys. You should also see a polls icon down at the bottom. We'll kick off the webinar with just a few short poll questions just to get a feel of who's in the room and who we're talking to today. So we'd love your participation in those. Thank you already for your participation in the chat and telling us where you're from. And then lastly, as a thank you for staying for the entire duration of this webinar, so whoever stays for the webinar, the entire duration, you'll be entered into a raffle drawing to get a $50 Amazon gift card. There's some really good content on this webinar, so we do want to get everyone involved and participating. So please stay, and you'll be entered into that. So for a quick rundown of the agenda, we're really going to get right into things today. First, we're just going to get you right into introductions. We'll kick off with who's speaking today, who you'll be learning from today. We'll go right into the poll questions. Those should be very quick. And then we'll get right into the nitty-gritty of ClockShark. Daniel, who's speaking today, will take you through a live demo. We also have some other talks about just what's going on in support and integration. So you get a full lay of the land with ClockShark, and then I'm pretty sure we'll spend quite a bit of time in Q&A with any of the questions that you guys have. So again, just continue to submit those as you get them. So without further ado, let's get right into the introduction. So let's kick it off with Daniel, and then we can go into Austin, and then I'll tee it off if I formally introduce myself to you guys.
Hey, I'm Daniel Metcalf. I've been at ClockShark for about 3 years now. I'm the sales manager over here, and I'll be presenting a live demo to you folks and fielding some of the questions at the end.
Hey everybody, my name's Austin. I'm the sales engineer over here at ClockShark. I've been here for almost 4 years, and here kind of towards the end, we'll discuss a little bit about what we have going on with connecting to some outside software.
Perfect. And again, as you know, my name is Jen, Director of Growth here at ClockShark. My goal for this entire webinar is just to make sure that you guys are getting the good experience that you need on the webinar and getting all your questions answered. All right, so for the first poll question we have, what is your role in your company? So if you go down to the polls area, that poll question should be published already. Just go ahead and let us know. What's the role in your company? If it's any of these, all of the above. Yeah, a few seconds for that. And then for the next poll question, have you ever used GPS time tracking in your business? Perfect. All right. All right. With that, let's go ahead and kick it over to Daniel. Daniel, do you want to give the group a little introduction into ClockShark?
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't heard of ClockShark or you're new to it, I know we had some potential customers that were signing up today. We are GPS time tracking and scheduling. We help kind of boost companies' efficiencies when it comes to time tracking, get them off of manual processes such as paper, text messages, or spreadsheets to help kind of organize it in one place. We do all the collection for you, and we have a couple different clock-in methods for employees as well to hopefully kind of mirror match some of the process that you currently have within your business. As I said there, we have over 9,500 customers that are currently working with ClockShark to help track their time, schedule their employees, understand where the time off lives as well, and allow people to make those requests. So if it's related to time or scheduling, we pretty much do it all on our side. And then just a little bit more about us. We're a very easy to set up system. Often we can have folks up and running within about an hour. So if you're looking to kind of get the value of a new timekeeping system and get off those manual process, our onboarding team will help you get up and running fairly quickly. Employee scheduling can be done on the web for folks that are working back in the office and can do a lot of the reporting and stuff on the back end there. But you can also do it for folks that are in the field and a little bit more hands-on, some of those smaller business owners. We know you travel around a lot and you're with the crew quite often, so you can do a lot of the same functions through the mobile app. We'll go over a few ways to track time as well as paid time off, sick time, things of that nature. I'll dive a little bit into the reporting that ClockShark has. You can report by job, employees, a few different ways. And then Austin's going to come in at the end and tell you a little bit about how we integrate with different software solutions and how we can help get our data into your accounting or payroll platform.
Perfect. Daniel, do you want to get right into the live demo now?
Let's dive right in. I think seeing is believing, right?
It is. Let's go.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll go over ClockShark. As we go through, like Jen said, please load the question area up. We will have time for Q&A and make sure that you get all your questions answered there, but I'll try to be fairly thorough in the demo. All right, my screen should have popped up here. On the left side, I like to coin this as kind of the administrative dashboard. This is ClockShark.com. This is where we do the initial setup of the account. This is the best place to review time and pull reports. On the right side where it says Good Morning Clock In, this is the mobile app. This is what employees would be using when they're out in the field tracking time. So we'll go over a couple things within the system just so you understand, hey, once it's set up this way, now you can begin to function and get the value out of it. As you can see here, this is our employee screen. This is where you add your employees, select the different types of roles for employees. I have mine color coded. The reason that we do this is maybe you have a maintenance team, a construction team, an office team, whatever that may be. You can color code them and kind of separate them to give them different permissions. ClockShark is a permission-based software, so you get to pick and choose what people see and what people can do within the software, making sure they only are allowed to do the things that you say. If you only want them tracking time, they'll only track time. You want them editing or approving time, that's what they'll do within the system. Within each employee as well is where we set up different things. We can set up GPS permissions. I'll give you kind of a sneak peek of that as well. We can set up what time off hours they have, what type of GPS that we want. We do have GPS tracking. This creates somewhat of a breadcrumb trail that I'm going to show you folks. It pings their location about every 15 minutes while on the clock. Allows you to kind of see where they went and make sure you have the verification tool that you need, that employees were on the job site when they said they were on the job site. And again, our software is all permission based, and you can make certain people managers of specific groups of employees. Hey, if Tom is a foreman or a manager who approves time, makes schedules for the maintenance department, by all means, you can have him control the maintenance department and make those changes for those particular people. We also have a way to group folks by departments and locations. Before I go too far into that, these 4 tabs across the top, we like to keep ClockShark simple and organized for you. So this is kind of your tool belt to success up here at the top. Time work, admin, and time work, reports, and admin, excuse me. And this is where we set things up. You can group employees into specific departments, like I mentioned before, by color coding them. In my system, I have just 2 departments, construction and maintenance. And then you can also have locations. If you work in multiple states or even multiple cities within a certain state, you can group that into locations as well. Once the employees are set up, the next phase of the ClockShark system is setting up your jobs if you track those type of details within your system. I have my jobs set up here. They are addresses that I expect my employees to show up at to perform service. We do have an hours budgeting tool, which is a pretty cool tool as well. If you're doing longer term projects, maybe a bathroom remodel that's going to take a few weeks, maybe a larger commercial type project, you can set up specific hour budgets and say, hey, we need to hit this in order for us to be profitable. This will fire off emails to you based on a certain cadence. Hey, I want to have an email sent to me when this job reaches 500 hours. So I know, hey, let me check in with some of the supervisors. Let's see if we're about halfway through the job or if we maybe under or over budgeted this job. So a way to help your business kind of keep track of what's going on as far as labor tracking goes. And then with each job, we do have the ability to put geofences on the job. A geofence is a GPS perimeter that is set around the job site. And what it does is it reminds employees to clock in when they enter the job site and reminds them to clock out when they exit the job site. If they don't adhere to the rules of the geofence, we will send you alerts via email and on the timesheets letting you know, hey, Austin clocked in and he was miles away from the job site. And then you can have that conversation with the employee if needed. Here is a quick snapshot of the geofence. You can make them bigger or smaller around a specific area. For each job as well, we can restrict employee access. Maybe your maintenance team doesn't need to see the same jobs as your construction team. So by all means, we can restrict employee access and say, hey, allow only my maintenance team to see this particular job. And again, we can track the labor budget on those jobs as well and email when the budget hits a certain area. So there's a lot of settings within the job to really kind of drill down on those details and make sure people are selecting the correct things. The next layer of detail that we have within ClockShark is what we've coined as tasks. This is the type of work that your folks are doing either on the job site or traveling to the job site, hence the reason you see travel within my system. In this case, I have my system set up kind of as a landscaping contractor, doing some landscaping maintenance, maybe some hardscaping and landscaping construction as well. But when one of my employees gets to the job site, they're going to select the job site, and then they're going to select what they're doing for the day. Maybe they're doing mowing at this job site, pruning and trimming, sprinkler systems. If you're a plumbing business, it might be rough-in or finished plumbing, could be framing. These are a ton of examples of tasks that you can create within there. And they also have codes that go along with them that can help with some of that accounting and payroll piece. And maybe Austin can touch on that as well as we go through later. Once these few pieces of the system are set up, you're essentially ready to go. Again, this is a very quick setup. We can have most companies set up within about an hour, and you don't have to manually put these things in. By all means, you can add tasks and add jobs manually, but we can import these functions as well. Once all of this is set up, kind of the next step within the business, hey, I got a call from a customer. They want me to come perform service at their house or place of business tomorrow, May 1st. Here's the scheduling system within ClockShark. Again, you can color code these jobs and color code these employees. And what that does is maybe all my orange colored jobs are maintenance type jobs. All my blue are construction type jobs. All my red are construction cleanup jobs. Whatever it is and whatever type of industry you're in, we can kind of match that within the color system to help you know what's going on the schedule. The schedule has a couple different features. It does have a drag and drop feature. We can always drag and drop 1005 Lions Lane down to Barry Sanders here. And it would let him know that he has to go to 1005 Lions Lane and 11 Terrace Drive the same day. We do have an add shift button as well, and I think this one is probably the most beneficial. And we can go ahead and add shift here. Let's go ahead and select more than one employee. I'm going to select Daniel and Jerry. I'm going to say both of them need to go to 45 Cottage Avenue, and they're going to be doing some sprinkler systems for today, Wednesday, 4:30. By all means, we can repeat this if we think it's a 2-day job. We can repeat it every day if it's for a long period, every week, every other week, or every weekday, Monday through Friday, or even every month. So we have a repeatable cadence, so you don't have to continue to drag and drop these schedules. More set them in the beginning. And then you can change them as needed. We can say every day here, and I'll end it on Thursday the 1st. And then we can also add notes. Please remove old system. And then we can go ahead and publish those. And now it's going to let people know when they need to be there. You can set timelines. You can set it for all day type of jobs. And what that will do is it will populate to the mobile phone for these folks so they can see where they need to be and what they need to do. And it'll keep you organized in one place. By all means, if one of your employees has time off on Friday the 2nd, hey, I just noticed when I was looking at the schedule, Tom had requested time off on Friday, but I have him scheduled for 1124 Patriot Drive. I know he's not going to be there. I'm going to go ahead and drag this down to Barry down here as well, and let him know that he needs to be at that job site now. So it's a quick swap when you see these paid time off of dragging and drop it to someone else, and then they'll be informed that that's the job site they need to go to. One job site a day or multiple job sites a day are pretty easy within our scheduling system. Now we'll kind of get into the important part as well. Let's get into the mobile app so you can see what that looks like. Here is the mobile app on the right-hand side. They have a tool belt across the bottom for them as well. Their home screen allows them to clock in. They can see their schedule and their timesheets as well. We'll go ahead and move it over here to the schedule function right here. As soon as I put that new schedule in, it's going to show it on my side as well. Looks like today I needed to be at 45 Cottage Avenue at 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I have a few job sites there, so I can see my week in a snapshot, and it'll show me what time I need to show up and where I need to be. They can also drill down on this schedule, and they can see it either just today's schedule, the first 3 days of their schedule if they really want to narrow down, or the week. So a few different ways to do that. Employees can always clock in directly from their schedule. I'm supposed to be at Cottage Avenue. Lets me know here. My task is sprinkler systems, as you can see down here at the bottom. And it lets you know who's supposed to be there and a little bit of information about them as well. But if you click the job site, it allows you to get directions. If we have the job site's address in there, employees can get directions. It'll connect to the maps on their phone, or they can simply clock in as well. So makes it fairly user-friendly for employees. Most employees, most often from what we see, review their schedule at the beginning of the week. Monday morning, hey, where do I need to be for the week? And then what they'll do is they'll go ahead and select this clock in button. They'll have a list of jobs that they have access to. And they can select, hey, I know I need to be at 45 Cottage Avenue today. I'm going to go ahead and select 45 Cottage Avenue. And based on my schedule, I'm doing sprinkler systems. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'll go ahead and complete my clock in. Once employees do clock in, the GPS feature has been officially enabled. So now you'll be able to see where your folks are on the clock. We do have, for folks that are on the go, and they're kind of the smaller owner operators, we do have a map within the mobile phone. You'll be able to see where your employees are located when they clock in. Or we have a who's working now screen for folks that are back in the office primarily and want to review these things. It will show Daniel Metcalf is clocked in, 45 Cottage Avenue, doing sprinkler systems. And then you'll see where the employee is located. And again, this updates about every 15 minutes, giving you a play-by-play of where they were throughout their day. Employees on the mobile app can start their break, which is a lunch break. This is an unpaid time off. They can start their break. When they do, they're removed from the GPS screen. This is their time. They're off the clock, so they're removed. And then they can also end break as well. I'll give this a quick refresh just to make it go a little faster for you folks. As soon as the break is over, the GPS is re-engaged. Employees can leave notes and or attachments on the mobile app as well to communicate back to the office what went on. Notes could be things about the job site. Notes could be incorrect time. Hey, clocked in at 9:20, was at the job site at 9 o'clock. Please adjust. So just a way for them to communicate back to the office for you. And then they can also send attachments as well. So they can send photos, before and after photos of the job site. We'll show you what that looks like here. They can take a picture, or they can get it from their gallery or their files. We'll go ahead and take a picture. We'll pretend the computer screen is the job site for our purposes today. We'll go ahead and use that photo. Attachments have been updated, and now it lets me know that I can click to download these attachments as well, so I can see exactly what Daniel has sent to me throughout the day. So this happens fairly quickly for your business if you need to see anything. And then kind of the last two buttons on this clock are switch and clock out. Switch allows employees to maneuver from one job site to the other. They can switch, say, hey, I'm heading over to 1124 Patriot Drive. They can let you know they're traveling. They can let you know they're doing general work, whatever it may be. We'll go ahead and select mowing for this one, and we'll complete the switch. It will let you know in live time, once again, that Daniel Metcalf has just switched clock and is now at 1124 Patriot Drive doing a different job and doing a different service. Now he's doing mowing. And then at the end of their day, employees will simply hit stop and clock out. It'll confirm their clock out. When they do, they're removed from the GPS. We often see that sometimes it's a concern of employees and their privacy. We only have access, or you only have access to view your employee's location while they're on the clock. Once they're off the clock, no longer have access to that. We do have a few other clock-in methods that I'd like to go over before I dive into the timesheets and a little bit about the reports. We do have a kiosk clock. Let's switch over here. Essentially, you can turn an iPad or a phone into a kiosk clock. And what that does is it allows employees to come up to that iPad. Maybe it's stationary at the shop, at the warehouse, wherever you're at, or even stationary at the job site. They can enter in a 4-digit PIN number and they can clock in. One of the great things about our kiosk clock is that it has a photo recognition feature. So the kiosk clock will snap a photo of your employees upon clock in and upon clock out to make sure it's the right person. They're not sharing their PIN numbers with one of their fellow employees. The other method that we have is crew clock. We see that this is a popular option as well. If you go ahead and select crew clock within the app here, it's going to give you access to your crew. Typically, we see this as foremen, supervisors, things of that nature, sometimes owners, operators who are in the field with their folks. And it allows you to select certain employees. We can select Barry and Jerry. We can continue. We can clock them in. And then again, it will prompt us to select what job site they're at. And it will prompt us to select what they're doing as well. We'll say some general work here. And then we'll complete the clock in. This is a way to clock in your crew. It will let you know this crew was clocked in by Daniel Metcalf back on the website. And this GPS is actually showing the GPS of Daniel's phone. So the crew leader's phone. So you're not going to get GPS of each individual employee with the crew clock, but it does allow you to have matching timesheets for everybody that was on the job site. That way there's no discrepancies in time. Maybe Jerry says 8 hours one day and Barry says 9. Using crew clock, they'll both be on that 8 hour or 9 hour matching block. Before we dive into the timesheets, we'll show one more thing on the mobile app. We'll show two more things, excuse me. Employees do have access to their own timesheets as well. So they can see how many hours they tracked on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, throughout the week. And they can see how much time is regular time, overtime, double time if you offer it, or even time off, depending on how we set up your system. So they'll have access to that. And then within their schedule function for employees as well, up in the upper right-hand corner, they will have access to time off. This is where an employee would make their requests as far as time off goes. Hey, I have 15 hours of PTO and I really need to take off next Friday, not this Friday. I can go ahead and select the PTO bucket here. Lets me know I have 15 hours remaining. I'm going to go ahead and request time off. And then I get to select a specific date. Again, I'm going to go ahead and select May 9th. I'm going to save. And then we can select the duration. Hey, I want 8 hours that day, and I can even provide you a description. Taking daughter to the doctor's office. And then I can request time off. That will get emailed to admin and managers, as well as that request will live within our request tab on ClockShark. So as you see here, we have approved time off segments, and then we have approved that have been taken. These have already been used. These have already been paid. This is the pending request by Daniel submitted on 4/30 today. Daniel will have 7 hours remaining if approved. So you'll have access to all their banks and balances within the system. Then you can go ahead and approve it. And kind of the lovely thing that we will show on the timesheets is that this request for next Friday is already showing up on Daniel's timesheet. Daniel's going to have 8 hours of paid time off. We'll know that we can't schedule him. It'll also populate on our scheduling function as well. So it gives you visibility as to when they're not available to work and gives you all this time for reporting purposes as well. How much time was time worked in the field? How much time was time off? Within these timesheets, we have a few different symbols on here. As you can see, the fork and knife symbolizes that there was a lunch break taken. The red arrow means there's something that was off. On Tuesday, it is signifying late in. Daniel was late to his scheduled shift. And then on Wednesday, it's signifying that Daniel was out of bounds. He must not clocked in on the job. Blue box is for notes. Paperclip is for attachments. Let's go ahead and dive into one of these timesheets so you can see what it's like. And once you get the timesheet back, how does it look to edit it? How does it look to review it? On the timesheets, you can see the GPS as well. Here is that photo that I took. So you can see photos of the job site. Here's the notes. Clocked in at 9:20 a.m. Was at the job site at 9. Please adjust. Then it lets you know what both job sites I went to and how long I was at each one. allocating my time, and even how long I was on break. This out of bounds alert lets you know when you click it that the job site is within this circle. Daniel clocked in over here on this red GPS pin. So to let you know where Daniel clocked in relation to the job site, so you can start to have those conversations that they clocked in outside of it. People who have specific permissions can edit or adjust timesheets. Typically, it's the admin profile within the ClockShark system. They can edit. Let's go ahead and give Daniel the 9 a.m. that he requested. And let's give him a 7-minute break here. We can go ahead and save that. It will create an audit log and let you know that which admin made the change and which changes were made. So you'll have a view of the full audit log here in ClockShark, but you can also see it on the timesheets. Now Daniel has 17 minutes, and we can even adjust the second time segment as well. Let's pretend he worked a full day here for our purposes. We'll say till 4 p.m. And now Daniel's total for the day is 6 hours and 53 minutes. You can approve these timesheets daily, which essentially locks them, lets you know they're ready for accounting or payroll, or you can approve them weekly. A couple different ways to do that. I'll go ahead and approve the day, and we will navigate back to the timesheets to show you a bit what that looks like. Here's the day approved, and it lets you know that Daniel Metcalf approved this time. Or, hey, if Tom had approved Daniel's time, it would let you know approved by Tom. What it looks like for a full week is you will see this green bar across the top. It will lock in that timesheet for the week, and we'll give you the little green check mark. There's a more quick and efficient way to approve timesheets as well. After you've made any edits or adjustments, by all means, you can come through to these timesheets, click this little checkbox next to it, and approve the time from there as well. So couple easy ways to go about doing that. And kind of the final step, once all time is tracked, again, your timesheets are looking good. They're ready for payroll. Last step you would do is maybe two last steps. You could run reports within ClockShark, or you're going to work with Austin on our team to help understand how to get your information into the payroll system. So we'll just quickly dive into a few reports, and then we'll move on to Austin's portion of this as well. We do have job reports. All of these reports can be downloaded as PDFs or CSVs. CSV is similar to Excel file. I'm just going to pull a PDF just to give you an idea of the information that comes over. We can select any date range that we want. Let's go ahead and select the last 2 weeks. You can filter specific jobs. If you just want to know what's going on at 1005 Lions Lane, 11 Terrace, whatever job site you have, you can filter it. Or by all means, you can include notes or just view this. We'll go ahead and give you a view of what that looks like. I'll make it a little bigger on the screen here. But what this will show is, hey, my customer is Dave. The job site is 1005 Lions Lane. And this happens to be a prevailing wage job, hence the PW within my system. And it's going to show you a breakdown by day, the time they started, time that they had breaks, and the time that they left. And then it will give you some totals at the bottom. Looked like we only had Barry Sanders here all week for a total of 81 hours during this 2-week span. And he was doing travel. For 1124 Patriot Drive, it shows their breaks, shows what they were doing, which employees were there, and then gives you a breakdown at the bottom. 56 hours for Tom, 7 hours and 31 minutes for Daniel. And here's how they split their time at 1124 Patriot Drive by doing general work or mowing. And this will break it down for each job site. And then we also have one of my favorite reports is probably in the time tracking section called the Timesheets report. We'll go ahead and do the last 2 weeks as well. Let's see, 20th through 3rd. And this breaks down a little bit of everything for you. It lets you know the employee is the focal point of this report, lets you know what job sites they were at, what tasks they did, and then breaks down by regular, overtime, time off, or holiday, and then gives you a breakdown as well at the end. Tom had 8 hours of unpaid time off. So it shows 8 hours unpaid time. This is not paid time. Then it shows you a bit of a breakdown for Tom the next week, 8 hours of paid time off. Then gives you their breakdown there. So I love this report just because it shows the breakdown of overtime, paid time off, gives you a quick snapshot of that. But by all means, you can also run summary reports, employee reports. Everything that's collected within ClockShark essentially has its own report for it. And that's kind of the high-level demo of ClockShark. And I know we'll get to some of the questions that may have come up at the end here.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel. That was really great. There were a few questions that came in, but yeah, let's get right into integrations with Austin. So let me cue you up here, Austin, and then we can get going.
Perfect. Thank you, Jen. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to spend just a couple minutes here going over the integrations at the high level. As you can see on the screen, there's quite a few different software that we do integrate with. I think it would take way too long to dive into each one and the nuances of each one. So for the purpose of today, just going to go over a couple of them that are kind of our more popular, most used integrations. And we already had one question about QuickBooks. Yes, we do have a QuickBooks integration. It is definitely one of our most used ones. It's with both QuickBooks Online as well as QuickBooks Desktop. And there's a lot of features that go in with that integration. We can track time and connect to in QuickBooks the jobs or the projects. Customers can be connected as well. Of course, the employees are connected. That's how we have to, the employees are the ones tracking the time, so they're the ones connected. We also connect to service items and can connect to pay types or pay items as well, so that you can populate, upon export, all of that information goes into your QuickBooks and it's broken down by, where they were, what they were doing, and what they're getting paid to make it so it's very clean when you go to run payroll. More often than not, you're not really going to have to fiddle around with the data too much once it's in the system. Next, ADP. So we have a couple different integrations with ADP. We connect with their Run platform with Workforce Now, Total Source, as well as NextGen. So several different options over there. Each one kind of has its own nuances, but at the high level, we connect the employees. We can connect the different earnings codes or the different pay rates for the individuals. We can connect PTO there as well. That's also on the QuickBooks one. So we can connect PTO there. And then for Workforce Now and NextGen and Total Source, we can also do the job costing. So you can track the jobs back and forth between the systems as well to get that kind of a post-payroll job cost. As you can see on the screen, there are several others. I'm not going to dive into any of these other ones here today for the sake of time. If you have questions about any of these other softwares and connecting with them, feel free to throw a question here. We'll do the Q&A here at the end. Also, we can just book a consultation and we'll be able to really, kind of dive into this in more detail and even perhaps connect yours so that you can kind of test things out. Two other things to mention. If you don't see a software on this list that you actively utilize and you'd be interested in seeing if there can be some sort of connection, Zapier, which is in the bottom right corner there, that is a third-party integration software in which it just helps with automation. So when X happens here, go do this over in ClockShark. And so we can connect that way with, I think they connect to over 10,000 different software out there. So a lot of possibilities there. And then Missing Link, that's just a partner that we partner with. Missing Link Technologies, they are a company that can build a custom integration between ClockShark and another software. Or a lot of times what they can do is they can take the CSV or a report that you would download from ClockShark, and they can get it reconfigured for you to be able to upload into whatever other software that you're looking for. So they really act as that missing link between ClockShark and whatever potential software that you're looking at. So if any of these things are kind of piquing your interest and you have any questions about it, yeah, throw a question in there. We can chat about it here at the end, and yeah, we can book some sort of consultation and dive into it more as well. Thank you, Jen. So one thing that we wanted to discuss a little bit here is kind of your experience that you'll have with ClockShark. We provide what we call a white glove service. So from the moment you start a trial with us or book a consultation, we will be walking you through every step of the way. So from the get-go, you're going to have live setup with some of our onboarding specialists Of course, you're going to have integration assistance with yours truly. I would be there to help you get things connected and walk through making sure that the integrations themselves are going to be functioning the way that we need it to best support you all. And then we have both in the trial as well as your entire time that you're here with ClockShark, we have absolutely excellent support via chat, phone, or email. So you can reach out. They are very quick to respond and extremely knowledgeable. So I wanted to just make sure that we're highlighting that as that's definitely something that we like to provide to you, because ultimately the goal with the integrations with our support, we want to make sure that you are being successful in every way possible. And Daniel, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about timeline on going live.
I would say that, it can depend on the size of your company and complexity of the workflows that we need to set up within ClockShark. But often most of our account setups take about an hour to do, but you can really go live in 1 to 2 days. So we may have a couple meetings with you to get you all set up, settings configured, and provide the training materials to make sure that you can use the app. Employees know how to use the app, and admins know how to use the back end as well. So it's a fairly quick setup, and like Austin said, we're a white glove service, so you're going to be with us the full time when it comes to onboarding and setup, and then you'll have full access to our chat, phone, and email support, as well as some of you will have account managers as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Austin and Daniel. So what we want to do before we get right into Q&A, with all of that mentioned, the live demo that you just went through, integration talk that Austin just took you to, I want to let everyone know that you can start a free trial with ClockShark as soon as today. So look out in your inbox. Everyone who registered will get an email right from us with a link to start a free trial or a consultation to talk with us. And for those of you, we're offering a special surprise gift. For those of you that do sign up for a consultation or a free trial within the next 24 hours after this webinar ends, we will be sending a special gift your way, just more as a thank you for being through this webinar. So with that, Daniel, Austin, if you have anything else you want to add, if not, we'll go right into Q&A. All right. So we're going to go, let's just kind of start from questions as they came in. And Daniel or Austin, whoever wants to take these, you can start. Daniel, I think, actually, Austin, I think you answered the question that came in from James about QBO Advanced. Does jobs connect to projects within QBO Advanced, or does it only connect to sub-customer, which they use as the address site? So I'm not sure, James, if you want to add on to that, or Austin, if you want to add on to that, or if the question's kind of answered already.
Yeah, happy to touch on it just a little bit more. Sure. For those who have projects within their QuickBooks, the projects feature, it does connect to ClockShark. Those jobs can automatically populate from QuickBooks into ClockShark. And of course, then time is tracked by them and turn right around and exported back for the purpose of payroll. So, or costing or invoicing, right? It all gets into that project as needed. So, I think that answers the question for the most part. If there is an address on that site or on that sub customer or that project, yes, we can get that to come over and populate there as well.
Perfect. And then we get a question from Angel. Can we bill customers? Can we bill customers directly from the app? We need to improve our invoicing and payments process for projects. Daniel or Austin, I'm not sure if you want to take that.
Yeah, we have some quoting and things within our system. It's very version 1. Not something that many people use. No payments can be processed from our app. So if you're using a software like QuickBooks, or you're already using a software to invoice and receive payment, probably best to stick it out with the one you currently have.
Great. Yeah, thanks for answering that. And then a question came in. This might have come in earlier when you were talking about kind of clocking in and lunch. How does lunch break work? Is there anything you want to elaborate on that, Daniel, just in terms of employees? Probably more of that question is around, when employees are clocking in and out, can they take lunch breaks and any of that?
Correct. Yeah, the clock in and clock out are just to start and end time. The lunch break, removes you from the clock to take a specific lunch break. And we have some reminders and such that we'll go out to let employees know, hey, you've been on the clock for 4 hours. Don't forget to take your lunch break, and they'll go ahead and select the pause button to take a break and remove themselves from the clock and enjoy some food.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like it's really foolproof. So it's not kind of like they have to remember. It's like, oh, I've been working for an hour since I got back from lunch. It will remind them to clock back in once they're in the geofence.
That is correct.
Sounds good. And then let's see, we have another question in. With the schedule, can all of our staff see everyone's schedule or just the admins and managers?
Again, we kind of covered it at the top, but I'll just remind everybody, it's permission based. So it's really great. Either you can have everybody see each other's schedules if that's helpful for you, but by default, employees only see their own schedule. So they would have access to their own schedule unless we gave them permission to see others.
Perfect. Let's see. We have another question here. How can we generate a combination of timesheet reports and pay reports in one file?
Yeah, Venica, this is a great question. One of the reports I actually didn't touch on. We do have what we call a pay rates report. This would give you kind of the timesheet report and pay report all in one file, essentially. What it is going to give you is pre-payroll rates, essentially. If Daniel makes $20 an hour, it will multiply my $20 an hour times all the hours that I worked, but it'll also give you a breakdown of which jobs I worked and which type of tasks that I worked. So it'll give you kind of a breakdown of how my labor was allocated and what it costs for you. So we do have a pay rates report in there for you to run.
Perfect. And looks like we have one final question, and unless anyone wants to add any more, I'm not sure if this is a question or maybe a statement, but if any of you want to take it, let's see. Can you go up to 5 hierarchical protocol? Not sure. James, I see you followed up, so maybe there's an additional there. Can you remind employees 10 minutes before 8 hours ends? That way they're not working past their 8-hour time in California.
James, we can remind them, I believe, 15 minutes before. Ours is based in 15-minute increments. So not quite 10 minutes, but 15 minutes before we can remind them, hey, get ready to clock out. You're reaching your 8 hours. And we do have some California break compliance that's within our system as well to make sure they're adhering to the correct lunch protocol and breaks as well.
In regards to that previous question about the customers, James, I'm going out on a limb here. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. That you're probably referencing the hierarchy that can happen with the customers and jobs within QuickBooks. And pretty much from my understanding, and we can definitely test this if we want. But so as those customers and jobs have that hierarchy, so customer to sub-customer to sub-customer to project per se, that same hierarchy will connect back into ClockShark as well. So the customers we would probably have it come in as customers in your case, whereas we'd have the hierarchy of those jobs or those projects. That's what we would bring into ClockShark as the jobs.
Wonderful. Thank you, Austin. Perfect. It looks like that is all the questions we have. So yeah, thank you, Daniel and Austin, for answering all of those. So everyone, if there are any further questions that you have, again, we'll be sending you an email right after this webinar. So you can definitely feel free to ask us any questions in that email. But the best way to get in touch with us is sign up for that trial. Once you get that link, that will put you in touch with someone, to take you through the demo and really get you onboarded, or get a consultation with us. So look out for that email in your inbox. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining today and spending this time with us.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.